Now y'all know me. I come in. I'm confident. Thank you. We're gonna see.
You said what happened?
I couldn't hear that intro.
Oh, yeah. But give me a second. Okay. Yo, we're live. We are back. It's another episode of the Fantasy. Welcome, everybody. What are we in? Week 6.
Week 6,
Week
man.
6,
Yeah.
man. The NFL
Week
season
6.
is getting, it's going right along.
It's heating
what I'm
up.
saying? It's heating. That's exactly right. It's heating up right
It's
now.
heating up.
A very interesting week 5 behind us. Let's take a look. Oh, first of all, before we get way into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the Fantasy on YouTube. You can catch us on social medias on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow. We're doing these videos all season long. You know what I'm saying? It's week 6. We're gonna go up until when does the fantasy season really last? Like up until like week 14, week 15?
Week 16.
Either way, we here all season long. Make sure you hit subscribe, you know what I'm saying, so you can check us out. Okay, so yeah, let's real quick, let's dive into how we did last week. Let's see. First of all, how do y'all feel y'all did last week before we pull up as I'm pulling up the results?
I feel like I did great. I check it as I go, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We live for this. This is what we do.
Facts. Okay, so yeah, not too shabby, you know what I'm saying? 3 of the people on the Stardoms list didn't even suit up. But Sean really killed with the running backs, you know what I'm saying? All the running backs went for 20 or more. That's lit. Leonard Fournette had himself a day. Shit on the sit-em side, Twan really killed with a lot of them, other than I guess the wide receivers. You know what I'm saying? I guess if you're DJ Moore and Michael Pittman, you want more than 11 points out of that.
Facts. I mean, thank you, because I'm like, yo, I don't know about this because I seen the game on Thursday. I'm like, did y'all really want full PPR at 10.9 and 12.4 from Cortland Sutton? I mean, I feel like that number looks like it looks totally different from how we look at it.
When you're looking at it in your lineup, you don't want to see no damn 10.
I appreciate my co-host, my man P. You know what I'm saying? Sitting to my right, I appreciate him having my man AK on the list, and my man Paul. So maybe you need to have one. Maybe you need
That's
to
the last time you see it.
He's excluded
for me, he's excluded.
Oh yeah. All right, cool. Man, my man had like 197 total yards. AKA, you validated the pick last week. I still lost. You know what I'm saying? You'll never see the guy that almost won it from you on this list. You'll never see him on this list. But
on the sit-ems list or on the stardoms list?
On
either. On either.
You'll never see Travis
It's a
Kelce on the
no-brainer.
list, man.
Oh my god. Oh, that's what I thought you were talking about.
I was down 30. I was down 33
Jesus Christ.
points going into Monday night. I lost by 26 yards.
Oh, you lost still?
Yeah, man.
I mean, you shouldn't even have been in it down 30.
Yeah. I was watching the game just because the game was on.
Yeah.
You know, getting my stats and stuff ready for the show.
Yeah.
And Kelce wanted to score 4 touchdowns.
Kelce went nuts, man.
And that's when we try to tell y'all, look, don't sleep on these tight ends. Look, we had a talk. We had a talk in the preseason. Grab a tight end.
Grab a tight end.
We said, look, if you don't grab Kelce, grab Andrews, bro, because that's all it is. Waller and them. Hey man, we're gonna get into that.
Yeah. I think we're experiencing some lag. It's got to be the connection.
Facts.
Hopefully it gets better as the show goes on. I mean, we're in the same room every time, so hopefully it gets better. Man. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Can't control it, but hopefully it gets better as the show goes on. Let's get into the stardoms for today, or for week 6. And Twan's got the starters this week, so let's get into that.
All right, look, we're gonna start with Kirk Cousins at Miami. I mean, coming off a solid outing last week, you know, against Chicago. I feel like you're gonna keep the momentum going. I mean, Justin Jefferson, he can't be stopped. I don't see anybody out there that's gonna be able to stop him on a Miami defense. I mean, even Xavier Howard. Xavier Howard. He must be getting exposed because Miami is 31st against against quarterbacks this year in fantasy. So, I don't think that they played too hard of teams outside of Buffalo, and Buffalo didn't do too much. So you take that game away, they're still pretty bad against QB. So I would definitely say you gotta start Kirk Cousins. It's not a primetime game, so you can definitely go with Kirk Cousins this week. If it was a primetime game, I'd be shaky because primetime Kirk Cousins is not the guy. We still don't know. We still don't know if Byron Jones is going to play. We still don't know if Byron Jones is available. So I would definitely start Kirk Cousins if I was definitely streaming somebody. The bye week started this week, so y'all just be cautious out there in regards to who you starting in regards to quarterback position. But I like Kirk Cousins this week for sure. Next guy on my list is gonna be Tom. Terrific Tom, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Mr. Brady has thrown 50 passes. He's had 50 passes to 50. Excuse me, get it out, Tweezy. 50 passing attempts in 3 straight games. You know what I'm saying? The positive touchdown regression is definitely coming. It's coming. So if you have Tom Brady, like I do, not being biased, nothing like that, but it was a slow start to the season. But the wide receivers are finally getting healthy. It's gonna be all hands on deck this game. Hopefully, Julio's out there. Chris Godwin, what he could do in the slot. Mike Evans is Mike Evans. Mike Evans is out there. He's being targeted. So I definitely like Tom Brady to destroy Pittsburgh. They got Josh Allen last week, and now they get Tom Brady, the greatest ever, arguably the best quarterback ever. I say arguably because I'm more.
Is it an argument?
I'm a Peyton Manning type guy. But at the same time, I'm championships wise, everybody going Tom Brady, but I'm a Peyton Manning type guy. So I would definitely say you start Tom Brady. They're 26 against quarterbacks this year. That game against Buffalo is definitely raising this number up a lot. But at the same time, Tom Brady throwing 50 passes a game, you can guarantee he's probably going for like 2-3 touchdowns this game. I like him this game. I like him against Pittsburgh this week at Pitt. The next guy on this list is going to be Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, man, he started off strong last week in London. Everybody thought that Aaron Rodgers was probably going to throw for 4 or 5 touchdowns last week. He was going off. He was going off early, but at the same time, he didn't get the win. He was look really upset, and upset. Aaron Rodgers is never good for any opponent. It's never good for no team. The Jets have played well on defense, but I think Lambeau's going to get the best of them, man. That Lambeau field type of atmosphere, playing at home. Aaron Rodgers gets real comfortable at home. I could say it's going to be Aaron Rodgers show, but it can also be the Aaron Jones show. So at the same time, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get the best of his defense this week. I think he's going to come out with something to prove. Excuse me. He's thrown for 2 touchdowns in 4 straight games. So everybody that thinks Aaron Rodgers is struggling, you're wrong. Aaron Rodgers is still out there slinging the rock. It's just going under the radar because he's not doing it the way that he did last year. We're talking about the back-to-back MVP. He's definitely going to expose this New York Jets team. New York Jets, they're strong. Credit to Robert Salah and that defense. They look good. They shut down a good Miami team last week with a 3rd-string quarterback, though.
That was an impressive win.
That's an asterisk.
That was an impressive win.
That's an asterisk. That's an asterisk, man. 3rd-string quarterback. All right, but at the same time,
but
I definitely like Aaron Rodgers as a top 10 player.
They put up 40 on him.
At the same time,
they put up 40.
At the same time, the 3rd-string quarterback's not going to get much done. He didn't even think he was going to play.
I hear you.
He got thrown to the fire. All right.
Nigga didn't even have his helmet. He's like, what? Me?
Yeah, right.
He looked worried. He looked so worried on the sideline.
Am I going
I have to go in. I'm not ready.
going in the game?
He said, not me.
Today?
I'm not even prepared. I'm weak.
The last but not least, Geno Smith has made the list as a starter.
Let's hear this one.
Yo, Geno is very underrated. Yo, a lot of people are snoring on Geno, including myself, man. I'm one of those guys.
Writing them off.
Yeah, I wrote them off.
They write them off.
Hey,
You're not writing back.
I'm still waiting on that letter, Geno. Still waiting on that letter.
Left on red.
Hey, look at it like this, man. If you're going down your list of half PPR leagues, we play half PPR. So, I don't think that really matters when it comes to quarterbacks, but he's QB6 so far. He's defying the odds in regards to where he was counted out. You know what I'm saying? He was definitely counted out. The Arizona game is going to be up and down the field. You got Kyler Murray. He's going to be doing this thing. I could have put Kyler Murray on this list, but it was just way too obvious. You definitely starting Kyler Murray this week. So my sleeper this week, you know what I'm saying, is definitely going to be Geno Smith. Arizona is ranked 25th against quarterbacks this year. He's a top 10 play for me again this week. I think that he's going to definitely be a top 10 quarterback this week. My co-host right here is starting him over Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. But, I mean, either way, you got 2 solid quarterbacks this week. I feel like given the matchups, I would definitely go with Geno Smith. Given the pace of the game, I would go with Geno Smith for sure. All right. We're going to move on to the running backs. We got Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook's coming off a strong week last week. I mean, he's picking up momentum. Man, I'm not even going to sit here and say that a lot of y'all even think about benching Dalvin Cook. We had a discussion before the show, like, who's benching Dalvin Cook? But at the same time, it's like, dog, Dalvin Cook hasn't really been Dalvin Cook. But I think that he's picking up momentum. He's had one game over 14 and a half PPR points. So I think that he's finally getting back on track. I think he's getting back on track. You know, Miami gives us the 10th most fantasy points to running backs this year. He's a top 5 play for me this week if he's given the volume that he needs, because Madison's been cutting into some of that volume. You know, Kirk Cousins has been Kirk Cousins. So, I mean, hopefully Kirk Cousins hands the ball off sometimes. I feel like the Vikings offense as a whole is going to have a great week this week in regards to you know, playing Miami. I feel like they're going to get them out the way. Ramondre Stevenson, I mean, he finally gets the backfield to himself for a couple of weeks. You know, Ramondre is no slouch out there. For those who've been thinking about, you know, should I start Ramondre and Damian, you could definitely start both. It's kind of like a Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb type situation where you had probably Ramondre in the flex because Damian was a starter, but now it's just Ramondre's show. This is what I'm hoping for, Kareem Hunt. Hopefully nothing happens to Nick Chubb, but hey, if it happens, it happens. Hey, look, Bill Belichick, Bill Belichick said with his own words that he loves him. He said he loves him as a player. He said he loves Ramondre Stevenson as a player. I think that Ramondre is going to ball this week. The Browns just gave up 173 on 16 carries to Austin Eckler last week. Don't get me wrong, Austin Eckler is a better player overall than Austin Eckler than Ramondre when it comes to, you know, receiving out the backfield, but at the same time, this is rushing yards. I'm talking about 173 and 16 carries. If I had to go to a runner, Ramondre and Austin Eckler probably neck and neck, but an overall player, I would give it to Austin Eckler. But we're talking about just running the ball right now. I mean, even though, you know, receiving does come into play, I think Ramondre Stevenson is definitely going to score against Cleveland. I think Bill Belichick in the offense, even though he's defensive coach, is going to dial it up. I think Ramondre is going to have a solid game here with, I don't even know who the other running back is in that Patriots backfield, but I like Ramondre to definitely finish as top 5 player. And they rank 30th. The Browns rank 30th against running backs this year in regards to points allowed. I think that he finishes top 10 for sure. Next guy I got on my list is Devin Singletary. A lot of people going to disagree with this for sure. Devin Singletary didn't do too much last week, but I'm convinced he shows up in big games against tough opponents. I feel like last week he wasn't really needed. The line is really skewed because, you know, it was a blowout against Pittsburgh. He wasn't really needed. He wasn't needed against Pittsburgh. You know, one of the first plays of the game was a 98-yard touchdown to Gabe Davis. I mean, how many times is that going to happen, a 98-yard play? I don't even know how many times that happened in NFL history, but at the same time, they went up big. I think that Josh Allen threw for almost 400 yards in the first half. That's crazy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So at the same time, I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. They get the Chiefs this game. He's definitely going to be on the field for the entire game. It's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to present a lot of opportunities, and I expect Allen to be passing a ton. With Mahomes out there, Devin Singletary is no slouch when it comes to receiving. He is the receiving back for this team. So I definitely see six catches and a touchdown for Singletary this week. I think he's a top 12 play. I'm not gonna say top 10, but I think he's a top 12 play. He's a solid play this week for those who have him in their lineup.
Top 12. Singletary's a top 12 play this week.
We're gonna see, bro.
Hell no.
It's gonna be up and down the
It's
field.
gonna
the game gonna be up and down
top
the field.
20 to
Yeah,
25
this is probably the most
The game is gonna be up and down the field.
anticipated game of this week.
I mean, for sure. This game should have been. This game should have been flexed. This game definitely should have been flexed to like Monday. You know how they flex games at the end of the year?
Yeah.
They should have just been like, hey, a little
They should have did
Denver,
this today, tomorrow instead. Yeah, Denver. You're out of there. After
You
what
guys
we
have
saw
to play
last
on
week,
Sunday.
you got out of there.
You gotta play on Sunday.
It's very interesting how
Sure.
even like Denver got Thursday to Monday though. Like
Exactly.
they got like a week and a half off.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say this game, as important as it is, as nice as these two teams are, who do y'all think wins this game?
It's tough, man.
I'm gonna go Chiefs.
I'm going Chiefs too.
I'm going Chiefs.
I'll go Buffalo. I'll
I
go
feel like it's gonna
Buffalo.
be a good game.
It's gonna
I
be
feel
a
like
great
Pat,
game.
Pat Mahomes.
I feel like the
He's a
Raiders.
winner.
He
He's
lives
a
for shit
fucking
like this,
winner,
bro.
and he finds
Even that
ways to
fucking
win.
game last night or Monday night was
He
a
finds
crazy
ways to
game,
win.
bro.
I think the Chiefs going to Arrowhead, remembering what happened in that playoff game, and I feel like they're gonna be like, "Yo, fuck that. We not
talking about
going
the
out like
Bills?
that again." Yeah,
The Bills.
my bad. I
Yeah.
feel like the Buffalo Bills going to this game at Arrowhead, and they're thinking like, I remember last year they kicked us out
Mm-hmm.
in overtime. We not going like that again. It's gonna be
Yeah.
a tough game,
It's gonna
regardless.
be
I
a
feel
tough
like
one.
it's kind of like a toss up. Y'all like the Chiefs, I like the Bills. I'll go against the grain for sure. All right, so next guy on the list, I got Mike Boone. I think Boone looked better than Melvin Gordon as a runner last Thursday, point blank period. Anybody that watched the game last Thursday, the game was a shit show. It was a shit show. It's the worst probably Thursday night game we've seen. There was no offensive touchdown score. There's no touchdown scored within the game. Like that's kind of fucking ridiculous. But at the same time, the coaching staff is patient. Their patience with Melvin Gordon, him fumbling. It's just like I feel like they're like, yo, I don't want to put you out there, and I think you're going to give the ball up. You're going to give an extra possession to the other team. You know, both backs should eat in this game. Melvin Gordon and Mike Boone, they should definitely eat. But I like Boone as a runner, regardless to break a long one. He's a solid top 15 to 18 play for me this week. I think if he gets 10 to 12, if he gets 10 to 12 to 15 carries against this soft run defense, it's a really soft run defense in Chargers, regardless, because you know Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt both scored touchdowns last week. So I like Mike Boone. I think they're gonna lean more towards the run this week. All right, moving on to the wide receivers. I like Jamar Chase. So you know, I'm only putting studs on this list. Nobody's benching Jamar Chase. Clearly, come on, he's Jamar Chase, but we're all waiting for Jamar to replicate what he did week 1. And I think this is the week that he's going to do it. I really do. Is T. Higgins going to play? We don't know. We don't know if T. Higgins is going to play or not. We really don't know. So the target is going to look ridiculous. If T. Higgins doesn't play a whole week without T. Higgins practicing, it's going to be ridiculous for Jamar Chase because the targets are going to be there. I'm not a believer anymore in Lattimore in coverage, even though Lattimore didn't shadow DK Metcalf last week. He did not shadow him last week, even though I think he should have, because DK had a huge game. And even though he had a couple touchdowns called back, but he had a big game. He's a potential number one. I feel like he's the potential number one fantasy wide receiver this week with no T. Higgins taking targets away from him. I definitely think that Jamar Chase has a chance to replicate what he did last year in 2021 this week. So we're going to wait and see, but I'm definitely calling my shot. I think Jamar Chase definitely has the potential to finish as number one. The next guy on my list, I got Courtland Sutton. I like Courtland Sutton, man. Last week I had him as a sit him due to the matchup with Stephon Gilmore, and I feel like I was right. You know, he tried to give, if anybody seen that game on Thursday night, he gave Stephon Gilmore too small. You know, he gave him the too small, and then 2 plays later, Stephon Gilmore has a pick. Like, come on, bro. You sitting on the former defense player of the year. You're tripping. You're tripping.
Can't provoke him.
But I mean, if there's any bright spot on this offense, it's Courtland Sutton, bro. He's the number 14 wide receiver in fantasy. He's consistent. He's consistent in terms of fantasy. He's definitely consistent. He hasn't had a game under 9 half-point PPR points. And he's Russ's number 1 target. So, I mean, I think that he's definitely going to be involved. Chargers game should be fast-paced. It should be up and down the field. We're going to see. And if Boone and Gordon aren't finding running lanes, they're going to have to throw. And Sutton's going to be the beneficiary of that. I mean, I haven't seen no corner out there. Everybody's talking about, you know, buddy from New Orleans, J.C. Jackson, coming in, shutting shit down. I haven't seen shit from him. Amari Cooper scored last week. You know, Asante Samuel Jr. still trying to find his way in the league. They give it the 23rd most points to fantasy wide receivers. So I think that Courtland Sutton, regardless of anything, you can definitely get like 11 to 12 fantasy points out of him. In regards, if you're playing PPR leagues, standard leagues, you might get 9 or 10. But I like Courtland Sutton this week for sure against that defense, because it's going to be a fast-paced game. They're going to have to keep up with them if they're scoring. Mike Evans. If I like the quarterback, I'm definitely going to like the wide receiver. This is going to be a huge week for Mike Evans, I think. I think it's going to be a Mike Evans. I think it's going to be the Mike Evans week. You know, Pittsburgh corners are, you know, last week he didn't really do too much, but, I mean, they're a far cry from A.J. Terrell and Casey Hayward. Far cry. Far cry. I don't know what's going on in Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin, your defensive coach, you got to get that thing together. Let's go. I mean, he's at 7 targets every single game except for against New Orleans when he got kicked out. Y'all, if y'all follow the show, we already called it. You know, Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans, they just don't get along. So that was the one game where he got kicked out. He only had less than 7 targets that game, but he's going to have more than 7 targets this game for sure. Pittsburgh ranks last in terms of fantasy points given up to wide receivers. So, I mean, I'm gonna go on and say I think that Mike Evans finishes top 8 this week. I think Mike Evans has a huge week at Pittsburgh. I feel like they're gonna come ready to play. I think if Tom throws the ball 50 times, then yeah.
This nigga been throwing the ball 50 times like it's his business.
Hey, bro. Hey, bro. It is what it is. But hey, if Tom throws the ball 50 times,
in that Chiefs game, they ran 6 run plays.
Yeah, 6 total.
6
total, which is crazy. So I don't think they're gonna have to do that against Pitt. But at the same time, if he even throws 40 times, I think Mike Evans is going to finish top 8. I think Mike Evans is going to be the beneficiary of that. The last guy on my list is going to be DJ Moore. I think we finally get the game that we've been waiting for from DJ Moore. And it's for a lot of reasons. So a lot of reasons. You know, I mean, get a new coach, get a new / old quarterback. I say new / old because, you know, PJ Walker, he has some familiarity with DJ last year. I think things should look a lot different. PJ gets the ball out quick. I'm sure his accuracy is going to be a lot more than Baker. Baker ranks last in Pro Football Focus stats in regards to targets thrown, and passes thrown on target, catchable passes. So he's trash. Like Baker Mayfield is not a starting quarterback in the NFL.
He's been fooling us.
I don't know if yeah,
not us, not even fooling us. He's been fooling the GMs.
Like Odell said it himself. Odell was like, "Yo, like this guy is not the guy. Like, I cannot play with this guy." It's crazy how Odell goes to the Rams and he's Super Bowl. Get from like, trash.
Scores a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Like, so I mean, at the same time, I mean, we never know. But Baker's not the guy.
I wonder if he
gets the ball
starts
out quick.
again. If he like
Baker?
I wonder if he
If PJ beats the Rams and he does okay. If PJ goes 1-2, Baker may not start. They're already thinking about rebuilding, clean the house. They got DJ Moore on the trade block. They got a new coach. You know, they got Christian McCaffrey. They're trying to clean up. So we never know what's going on with them. But I like it for DJ Moore. I like his prospects this week. I mean, he's definitely a top 20 play for me this week because he gets the Rams defense, who people think that is just so nice because they have Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, and them. But at the same time, buddy that be doing the seatbelt jump, he's trash. He be getting exposed. Like a lot of people be thinking that he's nice, like he's not nice. Number what? Number 6? I don't know what he is. He's not nice. The other corner for the Rams. He's not that good.
Corner for the after
he getting cooked up, boy. He be getting cooked up. I'm trying to tell you, they rank 28th in regards to fantasy points allowed to wide receivers. I think DJ Moore is going to be able to get open. I think he might even break a long one this week. We already seen Jalen Ramsey wants to tackle when he wants to tackle. So is what it is. We'll see.
Sometimes you don't want to tackle.
Yeah, exactly. Ask Debo.
Debo.
Yeah, facts.
Moving on to the tight ends. Tyler Higbee, man. I mean, last week I had him as a sit-em. He was one of my incorrect selections, but he definitely made the stardom list this week. He's far and away one of the best receiving options on this offense. He is. For sure. He's only had one game with less than 9 targets. Like, that's kind of crazy, man. One game with less than 9 targets.
Especially for a tight end.
You know, if for a tight end, you can ask for more. You cannot ask for more from your tight end. I mean, he's at less than 8 half-point PPR points in one game, and that was week 1 against the Buffalo Bills, who I think is the best defense all around in the NFL. So, I mean, he gets Carolina this week. Carolina's middle of the pack when it comes to tight ends. They are 14th against tight ends, but I think Tyler Higbee is better than Allen Robinson right now in regards to catching the ball. I think that Tyler Higbee is better than Scott Rennick in regards to catching the ball. There's no Van Jefferson out there. Cooper Kupp will definitely be Cooper Kupp. You never see Cooper Kupp on any of these lists. We'll never disrespect greatness. But at the same time, Tyler Higbee is definitely my start of the week for tight ends. I think that he's going to ball this week. The next guy on my list, I got George Kittle. I like George Kittle this week. I think it's the week that George Kittle is going to score. AJ Terrell, Casey Hayward, they look much improved last week. I feel like they're going to occupy Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. I feel like they're going to limit that on the outside this week. The underneath should be wide open. for Kittle this week. I don't see any corners out there. I don't even know who the safety is for Atlanta, but at the same time, I think Kittle's going to eat him up. I feel like Kittle might drag somebody into the end zone this week and do his little, his little first down jump, his little
celebration.
his little jump that he be doing. But I like him. He's solid, man. And Atlanta's 29th against tight ends, so I think he gives his fantasy owners the return on investment this week. I like George Kittle. For those who got George Kittle, this is the week. If you stay patient, man, you throw him in your lineup this week at Atlanta, and watch him do what he do, for sure. I like David Njoku. David Njoku's next on the list. Njoku, he should be occupied this week. He should definitely be occupied this week playing the Patriots. I feel like the Patriots, they're gonna scheme it up. So I feel like Bill Belichick will definitely. He knows that Nick Chubb is coming in. He's gonna try to scheme it up to somehow take Nick Chubb out the game or at least slow him down. Hey yo, if I had to start him this week, I would have Nick Chubb on the sit him.
Start him. Oh no!
I mean, if I had to sit him this week, I would have Nick Chubb on the sit him.
I was
and a lot of people might think I'm crazy. A lot of people might think I'm crazy, but look,
we was just talking about this. Bro.
Everybody has a down week,
except him.
I feel like that's gonna be our motto. Yeah, you're trying to say except him, but hey, at the same time,
except him,
it's gonna happen.
I'm a Chubb believer now, bro.
I got you.
I'm a Chubb believer now.
I got you, but you look at the defenses that he played. He ain't played Billy yet.
No, he hasn't. Hey,
look,
Bill ain't played him yet. Or them yet.
Bill's gonna scheme it out and take that man out the game.
I hear that.
That's what he does. He schemes it out to take the best player out of the game. He's gonna slow Nick Chubb down probably, and they're gonna be forced to pass. He's gonna force Jacoby Brissett to pass and have nothing downfield. It's gonna be who? Njoku.
To that point,
bing,
though,
bing,
like
bing.
To your point,
what's up?
The way that they fucking neutralized Detroit's offense. The way we were just talking about how Detroit,
right, what y'all think?
Detroit offense is nice. They score the most points in the league.
Yeah,
neutralized them.
Yeah, what did y'all think that they
do?
I mean, I'm not sitting. I had the Patriots plus the points on that one. I thought they were gonna win the game, but like, did they score that game?
No,
Detroit didn't score. That's what I'm saying. Like, neutralized them. I wasn't expecting all that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna hold you. I wasn't expecting all that.
So when you sit here and I'm thinking about Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, okay, Detroit Lions, just based off last week, Detroit Lions rolling into New England. We're putting up 35 points a game. You scored 0, boy. 0. Dan Campbell and them, you know what I'm saying? I mean, regardless, the past 3 weeks, let's get back to Njoku. Past 3 weeks, he's averaging 12.8 half-point PPR points per game. I mean, New England is solid, but if there's an opening on the defense, it's definitely with the safety, it's definitely with the tight end. I like Njoku. I like underneath. I think he's going to be the safety blanket underneath. I feel like they know they got to take Nick Chubb. Then they got to take Amari Cooper, who's the only receiving option. They're going to let Donovan Peoples-Jones beat him. If he beats him, he beats him. But at the same time, I think that Njoku's going to have a big game this week because they're going to have to dump it off a lot. This might be a Kareem Hunt type game too, but we'll never know. But as far as Nick Chubb is going to be Nick Chubb. But for those who thinking that he's going to put up RB1 numbers against this defense, we're going to see. We're going to see if he's that guy right now, this game against Bill Belichick. Next guy I got on my list is going to be Zach Ertz. I like Zach Ertz at Seattle. Anybody playing Seattle is going to put up points. I asked Taysom Hill as a tight end. I mean, Taysom Hill really skews the tight end numbers a little bit, so I'm not going to go too much off of that. But Zach Ertz has definitely been solid in the passing game. For Arizona. Arizona, they got one more week until they get Hopkins back. Marquise Brown's been holding it down. They lost a close one last week. Kicker smoked one, as my cousin would say. Kicker smoked one last week. But Zach Ertz, he's been pretty steady. I mean, he's had over 10 half-point PPR points in 3 out of the 5 games that he played. He had 7.8 last week against a tough Philly defense. Seattle is known to give up points to every position on the field. It's going to be a high-scoring game. That's why I feel like it's going to be back and forth with this game. So I would definitely start Zach Ertz at Seattle. I like him this week. I think he gets in the zone this week. He has 2 touchdowns already on the year. I think he gets 3. And, I mean, that's my number 4 tight end for sure. In regards to the defenses, we got the Vikings. I feel like they're going to shut down Miami. Miami's going with the 3rd-string quarterback. That's all I got to say. Daniil Hunter. Those guys are gonna get after him. Inexperienced quarterback. I'm not saying bench Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying bench Jalen Waddle. I'm not even saying bench Raheem Mostert, who's in the backfield, who took over for Chase Edmonds. But I mean, we don't know about Raheem Mostert this week. I just got an update that he didn't practice this week with an ankle or a knee injury. So I like the Vikings defense as a whole though this week. I feel like they're gonna hold that in check, and I like the Vikings offense. I feel like it's gonna be a blowout. I feel like they're gonna shut down Miami this week.
You think the Vikings blow out the Dolphins?
I feel like they blow out the Dolphins this week for sure.
What time is this game at? Do you know?
This game is at 1:00 because
Okay,
it's in Minnesota. It has to be at 1:00. The Chargers versus Denver. I like the Chargers defense. Until Denver's offense shows me something, I don't know. I like Cortland Sutton. I like Mike Boone, but at the same time, turnovers, man. Turnovers are the name of the game. Russell Wilson hasn't been proven to this year he hasn't really done too much. So we're gonna see how the Chargers defense acts as a division game. Division games usually low scoring, usually really competitive. So we're gonna see how that goes. I like the Chargers to get after Denver this week. I could be wrong here. I really could be wrong. It could be a fast-paced game, because Cleveland just got that Chargers defense. But Chargers at home, Justin Herbert, he could put the game on the reach early. They could be getting after Russ. Russ is coming off an injury, so I mean we never know how that game's going to go. But I like the Chargers defense. I'll put my money on the Chargers defense to come up with about 8-9 fantasy points in this game for sure. Definitely think there's a serviceable defense this week. The Buccaneers defense at Pittsburgh, I would have had them at number 1 for sure if I would have ranked it in order. I pretty much just put them up there. But the Buccaneers number 3 at Pitt. The Buccaneers should come in this game and they should dominate. I don't see Tom Brady playing into the fourth quarter of this game the way that Pitt is looking. Mike Tomlin looking for answers anywhere he can get them. Najee Harris, he cannot run the ball right now, and you get the toughest run defense in the league right now. So I think that the Buccaneers are a solid start this week. If you get the Buccaneers, they definitely might finish as a number 1 defense this week at Pitt. But last but not least, the Panthers defense and special teams at Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams offense is not like last year. Do not be fooled by the name. McVay is there. McVay is looking for answers, but at the same time, J.C. Horn is there. They got another solid corner. I don't even know what other corner is. I apologize,
Panthers.
man.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah,
But the Panthers are not. The Panthers look okay. The Panthers look okay. So I would definitely say that the Panthers look all right. And I don't think it's too much going on with the Rams offense. Cam Akers isn't doing much of anything. I'm not a firm believer in Cam Akers at all. I'm not a firm believer in the backfield. Like I said, Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee are the only options in receiving in. So I would go with the Panthers defense this week if I needed a solid start. And I mean that's what I got. Those are the starters, man. Do your research and look it up. If there's anything wrong, let me know. Please let me know. Let me know if I'm wrong.
I mean, it's all
enjoy
right and wrong would be opinion based, right? You know what I'm saying?
Like, I feel like we making the right call.
Yeah. That's how I only say that to say don't say to the audience like let me know if I'm wrong. Like it's Thursday. Exactly. Sunday gonna tell you if you was right or wrong. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like last week I came
different.
with a strong ass, not last week, but the week before, strong ass team.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody was about to put up 77 points. So you never fucking know.
You never fucking know in this game of fantasy, and that's the thrill of it. You know what I'm saying? That's the thrill of it. You don't fucking know. These are human beings we're playing with out here. You know what I'm saying? Somebody have a bad day, a bad morning, then they don't ball out on Sunday.
They're professionals.
They're professionals. That's a fact.
They're professionals.
At the end of the day, they're professionals. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break, but actually don't go nowhere because we're gonna do we got some betting plays for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So real quick, we just gonna take a quick little commercial break, plug the FanDuel SGP. So yeah, we'll be right back in a second. Go ahead.
All right, y'all. So look, FanDuel's offering new users a no sweat first bet. Get up to 1,000 back and free bets if you don't win your first bet. All you have to do is use the link in our description to sign up for a FanDuel Sportsbook account and place your first cash bet. If your bet loses, you'll receive your stake back and free bets up to $1,000. That's right, $1,000. This offer is only available for first-time FanDuel users. So not like me, because I bet on FanDuel, so you're not gonna get it the first time. But at the same time, if you're not a first-time FanDuel user, don't worry, because they got something sweet for you too. For Week 6 of the NFL FanDuel, they're offering a no sweat same game parlay for the Washington versus Chicago game on Thursday night. All you have to do is log in to your FanDuel account, opt into the offer, and place a 3-leg same game parlay wager. We got a bunch of those, a bunch of the same game parlay wagers for 3 legs. That's all you got to do with cash. And if your bet loses, you'll get your wager back in free bets. Like I said, it's a free bet. But hey, for your parlay to be eligible, the odds got to be plus 400. It got to be a little bit something on the board. Got to be something on the board. So plus 400 or greater. This is a sweet deal. I always take advantage of free bet offers. So, but hey, look, if you want to see what parlay I'm rocking with, it's about to be on the screen in a second. So feel free to tell. Use it in your inspo, or even if you fade it, it looks crazy. It is what it is. But look, but this is what I'm rocking with. Let's cash out. Let's get it.
All right, yeah, go ahead. So I'm gonna do my SGP. I'm rocking with Carson Wentz plus 225 passing yards, Justin Fields over 170 and a half pass yards, and the total points under 38 and a half. Goes for plus 892 odds. But let me give you a little bit of why I'm feeling this play. I feel like this hits because Carson Wentz, you know what I'm saying? We already know he's kind of been going crazy with the passing yards. He hasn't been throwing touchdowns. I mean, no, he's actually been throwing touchdowns. Except for Philly, he didn't throw any touchdowns, but he's been, I think he's 5th right now in passing yards.
He's been solid.
He's been solid. Just we haven't been able to put it together as a team. So I like him to get 225. His line is set to I think his line was set to about 220 or something like that. So the book's expecting to get it right around there. So I like that play. If they're going to have any success this week, it's going to be through the passing game. So I like that. Going on to the Justin Fields leg. I know people are looking at this like Justin Fields pass yards. Look, I did my research. When it comes to the Commanders, yeah, they give up a lot of yards, but they give up a lot of passing yards. They don't give up a lot of yards on the ground, especially not to quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, he's had the most rushing yards against them thus far this year, and that's been and that was 20 yards. You know what I'm saying? He had 7 carries for 20 yards. Other than that, they haven't really been giving up rushing yards, and they've seen some quarterbacks that like to run. They saw Ryan Tannehill. I think they kept him to under 10 yards, stuff like that. So I feel like if Justin Fields or if the Chicago Bears expect to have any success offensively, it's gonna, like Justin Fields, they're gonna have to rely on him to, air it out. And if they do, the Redskins secondary is trash. So I think Justin Fields can get 170 yards. This is the lowest passing line I've ever seen for a quarterback, at least this year. You know what I'm saying? So Justin Fields, don't say that, man. It's like, nah, I think he does. I'm rocking with that. The team total or the game total under 38 and a half. I like that because my man Twan was telling me last week the unders always hit on Thursday games. At least this year they have been. So I'm riding that. I literally tried to fade the public last week and tried to be the one that went against the grain. That did not work. So I'm taking the total under 38 and a half. Neither of these offenses are really that great. So, and also like they can't really punch it in even when they do get in the red zone. So I like Carson Wentz over 225, Justin Fields over 170, and the team and the game total under 38 and a half. Here goes Twan's SGP. And this is just inspo if y'all, because again, the no sweat same game parlay, put bread on the parlay, you get your money back if it don't hit. Literally free money. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So Twan, go ahead and go into your parlay.
All right, man. I'm going into my parlay, man. I like I like Brian Robinson's anytime touchdown score. I think Brian Robinson, he got his feet wet last week. He had a couple carries last week, but I feel like in the red zone they're gonna be able to punch it in. I feel like Washington Commanders gonna be able to move the ball. If anybody pays attention to football, anybody does their research, Pro Football Focus has the Bears defense as a 32nd ranked offensive line in the entire NFL. It's only 32 teams in the league, so that makes them what? Last. At the end of the day, I feel like it's gonna be a clean pocket for Carson Wentz. These numbers are highly attainable for Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel. Like, look at the numbers that are up on the board. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like their averages are a lot higher than that, but a lot of people think it's going to be a low-scoring game because it's a short week. But I feel like Carson Wentz going to have a clean pocket. He's going to be able to get the ball out to these guys. He's going to be able to find them. They're going to be able to create big plays. I like the overs on both of the receiving yards, and I definitely like Brian Robinson getting into the zone for sure. So
I feel like he's due.
If anybody's going to score for Washington, Gibson's not going to be in there. Brian Robinson's going to be in there. He's a short yardage back. That's what he's there for. Like I said last week against Tennessee, you guys feet wet. So it's a coming out party. Many men. If anybody, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he had that. Yeah.
Hey, and that's the hardest. Bro, that's the hardest song to come out to,
that's
bro.
Tough, that's tough.
That's the hardest
tough.
shit to come
that's
out
tough,
to,
but
bro.
at the same time, I'm not being biased. If anybody scores for Washington this week on the goal line, I feel like they learned their lesson last week. 1st and 2. Why isn't Brian Robinson in there? We got the game is really simple. Just run the ball, man.
And sometimes
19 seconds left, run the ball, man. But at the same time, I feel like they're gonna get Brian Robinson involved. I feel like Brian Robinson could finish the game with 7 carries, 36 yards, and 1 touchdown. And I think he gets in. I think Antonio Gibson had 6 carries last week or something like that. He's done. Antonio Gibson is phased out.
He did have 6 carries. That's
out.
crazy.
Yeah,
Brian Robinson had 11 or something?
Yeah, he's phased
13?
out. He's phased out. And Terry McLaurin's #1 wide receiver, Curtis Samuel, leads the team in targets. So I definitely think he gets 40 yards receiving. I definitely think he gets 52 yards receiving. And I think Brian Robinson, if they're in the end zone, if they're in the red zone, I think that he gets in. I feel like this is highly attainable. This
plus 859.
This bet
$10 turned to 80.
This bet can hit if the game is 13-7.
Yeah,
this bet can hit.
Facts.
Look at that bet. I'm not asking for a Terry McLaurin touchdown. I'm not asking for a Curtis Samuel touchdown. I'm asking for a Brian Robinson touchdown. I think he's going to be in there instead of McKissick.
You're asking Terry to do what he does in his sleep. You're asking
Exactly.
Curtis Samuel to do what he does in his sleep. And you're asking the feel-good story of Brian Robinson getting a touchdown. That's a feel-good. That's a feel-good story.
These are literally one big play from each of these guys. And I feel like Terry McLaurin is the focal point of the offense. Curtis Samuel is definitely this focal point. He leads the team in targets. I think Brian Robinson is the short yardage back. So, hey, look, put your bets in. Like I'm saying, I'm not saying it's guaranteed it's going to hit, but I would definitely put my odds on it. Plus 859 feels like FanDuel's giving us a fucking break here. But at the same time, I got 50 on this bet. I hope it returns my 450, and let's get it. If I win, matter of fact, if I win, the first person that says something about this, I'll send them a quick dub on the Cash App.
If that joint hits,
hey,
drop a comment.
If that bet hits,
drop a comment.
If that bet hits, and you drop a comment and be like, "Hey, Twan, look, I think that joint hit." That's all you gotta do. Hey, Twan, I think that joint hits, bro. I'm with you. And when it does hit, be like, "Hey, look, this is my Cash App. Send it to the fantasy at SJT.
Hey,
I guarantee you get
fuck
your
it. I'm giving some money away too. Fuck it.
If
my joint hits, I'm giving some bread away
get
too.
Your dub on
fuck
demand.
It.
You get your dub on demand. If that bet hits on demand.
You heard it here first.
Let me comment on that.
You heard right? Sean said, Twan, I think I hit.
Hey, PR, I think it might hit.
Yeah, man.
Nah,
nigga.
Yeah. The Addison family said, need that dub. All right. I'm not mad at that. All right. But let's get into the sit-ems. Hey, and we also got a special guest coming on right after this. So usually we do the Start Ems and Sit Ems and that's it. But not today. Today we got a special guest coming on. So we're going to go through these sit-ems. And then we got Pro Football Forensics coming on. They got everything going with all the analytics you need to place, you know what I'm saying, smart, profitable sports bets. So we're getting into that right after Sean does his sit-ems. So let's go ahead and get into the sit-ems.
Let's get to it. Coming in on the sit-ems list at quarterback, we got Matthew Stafford. If you watch football, you know Matthew Stafford is not playing the same as he played last year.
I don't even know. He's unrecognizable.
Yeah, he's a streamer right now. Not even he's droppable. But like the only player that's benefiting in LA right now is Cooper Kupp.
As always,
He's going nowhere.
It's crazy because Matthew Stafford's not doing nothing.
You give him the ball. He got to give him the ball.
And Tyler Higbee. Those are the only two guys. You know, Matthew Stafford. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say that word, but yeah. Hey, get Allen Robinson involved. Is it the color of his skin? I don't know. But he's not getting the targets. I don't know what's going on over there in LA. But Matthew Stafford's not the guy right now. He's ranked the 26th quarterback in fantasy football. 26.
Who?
20.
Like Matt Stafford, bro? Like, are we talking about Matthew Stafford? Or are we talking about Daniel Jones?
That is
talking about the
behind
Super Bowl champion.
Players that have more fantasy points than him right now. Matt Ryan, Justin Fields, and Baker Mayfield.
Justin Fields?
And Geno Smith.
Baker Mayfield?
Geno Smith is ranked number 6. He has a lot more points than a
Saying,
lot of
Geno
people.
is Geno, you know.
But like,
dog, we're talking about
I
Justin
Mariota,
Fields.
Mariota might have more yards.
Baker Mayfield. We just cooked Baker Mayfield during the
and
stardom
Matt
section.
Ryan. All players that's playing terrible football right now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So just imagine, like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think Cooper Rush might have more yards than him.
Matthew Stafford has only topped 11 fantasy points just once on the season.
Yeah.
Over 11 fantasy points, right? He only has 5 touchdowns to 7 interceptions on the season.
My question
Is that a Super Bowl quarterback?
My question is he a sit him until further notice?
Till further notice, right now. I say he's droppable.
Droppable. Should not be rostered.
He's a streaming option right now.
Yeah.
Streaming. He's a streamer.
Somebody in the bye weeks are starting to hit.
Exactly.
So maybe
You should not be starting Matthew Stafford in fantasy football right now.
ouch. That's hard. That's a far cry from the guy we know. But I hear that.
Next guy on my list is a guy that I argued this guy.
You
down.
backed
I
him
don't know
last
why
week.
I backed him. The week before I said he was fucking not cooking. Then I say he's cooking. He's not cooking again this week.
You know what? You know what's funny? I'm weak. I'm weak because literally that was when Twan would say, no, he's gonna cook this week. And you were like, no, he's done cooking.
Yeah,
and then he cooked that week, and then he went back to being done cooking.
I don't
And
know
he was
why.
not on any list.
I don't know
Not on
why.
any list.
I don't
Nigga
know why I
fooled
was
us.
trying
He
to
fooled
ride
us.
Russ. I
He
don't know
fooled us.
why. But even when he was in Seattle, like towards the end of the season,
saw
he
it.
was just you could see like he was just taking a step down
Mhm.
as a quarterback. You know what I mean? Like his arm strength, his accuracy, his running ability, even running the football. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? But you're not starting Russ this week. He has scored single-digit fantasy points in 2 of the last 3 weeks. He has in the 2 of the last 3 weeks. He has the Chargers are middle of the pack when it comes to stopping quarterbacks in fantasy, but I still don't like Russ this week. I have to see more. The run game is not there. You have Javonte Williams is out with the ACL. Melvin Gordon is fumbling the football left and right. You got Matt Boone, who is Matt Boone, a nobody. Mike Boone, exactly. But you got
Stop
Mike
it.
Boone, who's a nobody. So I do not like Russ this week at the Chargers. I'm sending him to further notice also. The first 2 quarterbacks, you sit into further notice. I need to see something out those guys. They're not getting it done. Next, you got Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz on a short week on the road against a Bears team that you don't know what the Bears are going to do.
I don't like this, bro.
Any given week, the Bears defense come out firing.
Bruh.
On a short week,
Any given
on the
week, the
road,
Bears defense comes
I'm saying-
out firing.
I'm saying,
Do you have stats to back that up?
look, listen,
I need to
listen,
hear
listen,
those
listen, listen,
I
listen,
need to hear this.
listen. The Bears, I mean,
Come out firing. I'm weak.
Firing?
firing.
Firing what? Firing the defensive coordinator. Firing the defensive coordinator. Firing the
Listen,
defensive
listen,
coordinator.
Matt Nagy, nigga.
Hear me out. Hear me out. I don't
Nigga.
know.
You don't know? Now
Carson-
you don't
no.
know?
Carson
Now you
Wentz, no. Carson Wentz on the road on a short week
Okay.
after what he's been doing, after what he did last week. But yeah, they played what?
He had 300
Tennessee?
yards.
Who?
He had 300 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Who?
They
He had
played Tennessee last week.
359 and 2 touchdowns and 1 pick.
They played.
Yeah, 21 and a half.
And when did he throw his pick?
at the end of the game.
At the
The
end of
most
the
important part, the most important time.
What did that have to do with fantasy? He had 21 and a half points. You want
What does that have to do with the Bears?
He had more than Aaron Rodgers last week.
Yeah, he had more than Aaron Rodgers.
He had more than
But
Tom Brady.
Look. Some of these shit, I'm going with my gut. And I don't see it from Carson Wentz this week. I don't see it from Carson Wentz.
Ayo.
Sometimes it's not even about the stats. It's about what you think is going to happen.
eye test.
I don't think Carson Wentz is going to give you fantasy numbers this week.
Bruh.
Sometimes it's not about the
The
stats.
Bears have the worst. I just said it. The Bears have the worst defensive line in the league.
Defensive line, okay. What are their corners doing?
Carson Wentz has only had
What are the
single-digit
cornerstones?
fantasy points against Dallas and Philly, the two of the top 5 defensive lines in the NFL.
And now they're on the road on a short week against the Bears.
Against
and
the Bears.
he's hurt.
Who
And he's banged up.
Worse.
And he's banged up with a
Who
shoulder
be
injury.
worse? And he's
And
banged
he's
up with a
banged up
shoulder
with a shoulder.
injury.
He was eliminated today in practice.
Carson Wentz top 15 play this week. You want to bet on that?
Top what?
Top 15.
You got to go top 10. Come on,
12,
top
12,
15.
12, 12.
Top
Meet me
12.
halfway.
Guaranteed.
All right,
He's not.
guaranteed.
He's
Guaranteed.
not.
So you got 12 quarterbacks finishing higher than
Yes,
Carson. I bet.
do.
Let's shake on that. Let's go. Perfect.
Hey, they
What's the
coming
bet?
out
What's the bet?
fire.
What's the bet? What's the bet? What's the bet? We have 51. We have 51-19. 51-19.
$10.
$10.
Carson Wentz. Put that in your fucking notes.
Hey,
Put
you
that
owe
in
me
your
some bread
fucking
anyway.
notes.
You owe me some bread anyway, man.
I know you know, Brad.
Send that shit, man.
Nah,
Just
Hey,
send
bro,
that shit.
Hey, bro. We good. We talk about it later. All show.
I'm not paying you for that Stephon Diggs. I'm not.
You lost my point too.
I'm not paying you for that.
L's L.
I said 10.9.
And you said Aaron Rodgers going to throw for 3 touchdowns.
said
And you didn't throw for 3
I
touchdowns.
said I give
And
you that.
Okay, that's
I'm not giving
fine.
Stephon
That's
Diggs.
fine. That's fine. And you
Okay.
also said something else.
I'm not giving you Stephon Diggs.
We record the shows, man. We got it.
I can't. But yeah, downgrade Justin Herbert.
Oh my God.
Like I said, I mean, Denver's ranked number 3 against quarterbacks. I don't like this game fantasy wise. I wouldn't start any. I mean, of course you're starting Justin Herbert because he's a downgrade. You're starting him. The only guy I like really that I can trust in this game is Austin Eckler. Mike Williams, I hate him because Patrick Surtain's gonna lock that shit up.
I agree.
I got that on my wide receivers. We're gonna get there. But yeah, I don't like Justin Herbert. Denver's ranked number 3 against quarterbacks. Justin Herbert is a downgrade for me. He has not been coming out and throwing the football like he did last season. Like they're getting started, but they're getting more started. They're getting Austin Eckler involved in the rushing game more. But I don't see it from Justin Herbert this week. I feel like Denver is going to strapping. I feel like it's going to be,
No, I agree.
tough for him out there.
I like this.
Running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire versus Buffalo.
The flukus.
What do you mean?
No,
Oh,
like
Clyde, Clyde's been solid this year.
Clyde is the flukest running back in fantasy by far.
He has.
Like,
He's benefiting
anybody
from
that has
short yardage.
Clyde, give it up, nigga. Give it up, bro. Like, give it up, bro. Like, fuck no, man. Hey, no, Clyde.
I don't like Clyde this week.
Without the flip pass, you saw what happened.
Exactly. Going
You
against
saw what
Buffalo's
happened, man.
defense
Oh no,
that
man.
ranks top 5 against running backs. They rank top 5 against every position. So I don't like Clyde this week unless he gets a fluke touchdown or 2 or something where Pat Mahomes just has to like basketball pass the shit to him. You know what I mean? That's what he does.
Behind the back
You
shit.
never know. You never know with Pat Mahomes,
You
but
never know.
I don't like Clyde Edwards-Helaire this year. I mean, this week going against Buffalo, he has a solid season. Like where you drafted Clyde, you're happy right now, but I don't like him this week going versus Buffalo. Najee Harris, he's a top 5 fantasy pick this season. He has not been living up to it. Tampa Bay has allowed the fewest points per game to running backs. So I do not like Najee Harris in this game. Last week, Pittsburgh put up 3 points against Buffalo, and they face another tough defense in Tampa Bay. I don't like Najee. I don't know what's going on over there. He's getting the same volume, the same usage. If you look at the numbers, everything's the same. His break tackle rate, everything's the same, but he's not getting those big plays. So I don't like Najee Harris this week versus Tampa Bay. He's a sit 'em. He's not even a downgrade. He's a sit 'em for me this week.
You want to know what I would say about Najee?
Let me hear what you guys say about Najee.
Najee's been a consistent stay on the list this year, man. Yo, like
He's gonna
Yo,
stay.
It seems like he's there every week.
yo, it's because
And he was a top 5
people
pick.
drafted
Money?
Najee. People drafted Najee to be like this guy. And
Yeah.
Najee has not been,
Not been
this
that guy. He's not
Like
been
he's he's looking like I mean, last year, I don't want to get okay, so don't get me wrong. Buddy that won the Heisman for Alabama that went to the Colts.
Who?
Trash.
Trent Richards?
Oh,
Trent. Hey, bro, like, I don't want to go to Trent territory, but Najee, get healthy, man. Get healthy soon, man.
He's looking like Trent
He's
Williams.
looking like
I mean,
Trent
Richardson out
Trent
there.
Richardson, man. Hey, Trent.
I haven't even heard that name in a long time.
Oh yeah, Trent has 2 seasons, then he just fell off the
I forgot about. I literally until you said his name just now,
Trent.
I forgot all about
I'm
him.
trying to tell you, man. It's like We gonna see.
And my thing is about running backs. Like, you get opportunities, you got to make shit happen, bro. Like, the volume is there for Najee. Like, you're getting handoffs, you're working the pass, but you're just not making things happen. after
Yeah,
you get the
man.
ball. I know, their offensive line's not the best, the quarterback plays not the best, but you still got to make something happen out there. I don't care. This is the NFL, man. But yeah, next on the list, Devin Singletary. Tweez had him as a stardom. I don't like Devin Singletary this week. I mean, only because I feel like the Bills, they like to pass the ball. Yes, Devin Singletary, sometimes he gets his catches and but he's a running back, and they're not going to handle the ball 15 to 20 times. He's not going to see it there. So I feel like for Devin Singletary to do something in this game, he has to score a touchdown. And I just don't see that happening. I feel like they're going to throw the ball to the receivers. Who knows? Zach Moss might be in there. James Cook might get some more burn because he looked all right playing in, the garbage time minutes. So I don't like Devin Singletary in this game. I don't see it. I don't see it from Devin Singletary. He's too inconsistent for me. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't trust him to start him this week. Coming number 4, we got Ezekiel Elliott. Last week he had 22 carries for 78 yards. That's only 3.6 yards per carry. He's averaged 3.6 yards per carry or lower in 3 of the 4 games this season. So Zeke, he's getting the volume, but he's just not getting the yards. He's another guy. He's declining. He's on the decline. He's on the Adrian Peterson decline type of, in his career.
How many years has Zeke been in the league? A lot. 6,
Maybe
7,
10.
No,
6,
7.
So Zeke has not scored. He has not scored 15 fantasy points a game this season. It has been 10 or fewer. He in this season has 10 or fewer fantasy points in 5 games or fewer this season.
Mm-hmm.
So Zeke is not getting it done. Tony Pollard is the guy in Dallas. He can chalk it up. His position is about to be gone. The only reason he's still getting snaps and carries is because he's getting paid hella money. And Jerry Jones don't want to look like a fool, so he's going to keep handing Zeke the ball. But I think Zeke is done in Dallas after this season. I feel like they're going to be looking for another running back. Tony Pollard, he's good, but I don't think he can handle the full workload. I feel like he needs Zeke there to, handle the first and second. He comes in to change the pace. So I don't like Tony Pollard either after this season. I don't feel like he's a feature back in the NFL. But you sick Zeke this week at Philly.
Damn.
I don't. You
After this year?
after this, Tony
You don't
Pollard.
like who?
Tony Pollard.
Huh?
You think Tony Pollard's a feature? You think he's a face of a running back core in the NFL?
I think Tony Pollard fits the new NFL.
I don't think so, bro.
And when I say the new NFL, I'm saying like in regards to getting this guy the ball on the edge, like this nigga, dog. I saw Tony Pollard take a fucking pitch 50 yards to the house. I couldn't say much because I'm a Dallas hater till today I go. That boy looked agile and nice out there.
That's change of pace.
But bruh,
Tony Pollard coming in.
he ran through the tackles.
But
He broke like 3
listen,
tackles.
Listen, yeah, that's after Zeke weakens the defense up.
That was after Zeke did anything.
No, Zeke. I'll give Zeke that.
Zeke,
He does that for Tony Pollard, but I don't feel like Tony Pollard can be a number 1 running back in the NFL.
Okay,
Number 1 running back. Okay,
I got you.
Mark Cooper. He's the definition of boomer bust. He'll come out, give you 20, then come out, give you 3. So I feel like
This is a 3-week.
this is a 3-week for Mark Cooper going against New England.
Oh,
They're-
it is.
They're
though.
tough
It
against
is.
receivers.
It is.
They're a tough
It is.
defense to play with. He balled out last week. And Mark Cooper had a touchdown last week. This
He
week
did.
he's not going to score
I
anything.
hate to say that.
That's
I hate
what
to
Mark
say
Cooper
that.
does.
It is. It's a down week.
Him, Mike Williams, Gabe Davis. Sorry to
Fucking
say,
great call,
those
man.
are those type of guys. They're boomer bust, and I feel like this is a bust week for Mark Cooper.
Great call. I'll go on record saying this is a great call, man. I'll go on record saying this is the
Deontay
chop up.
Johnson.
This is the chop up. This is the chop up right now. This is the chop up.
Said this is gonna hit.
Chop
He said
up.
this is
Hey,
gonna
bro,
hit.
bro, bro, going
This
on
is gonna
record
work
saying
out.
that
This is gonna work out.
Yeah. This is it.
Deontay Johnson, quarterback play, man.
Another one.
You got the rookie coming in there, and last week they put up 3 points.
It looks tough for him.
I feel like it'll be a little bit better this week.
He's not in a good
But
spot, but
I
it looks
give it to
tough
you.
for Kenny Pickett.
Go on a roll.
But you're going against Tampa Bay, a tough defense.
Got
I
some
feel like
number one wideouts on
They're
there.
the second best defense in the league
Mhm.
behind Buffalo. So I don't like Deontay Johnson in this one. I got to see it. Like I could be wrong. He could come out Kyle Pitts.
No,
He
you
could
might be right.
slinging it, you know what I mean?
You'll be right.
He could get some
You
garbage
say,
time.
you say you'll
shit.
be right, right?
But yeah,
You say you'll be
I'ma
right?
for
You'll
sure.
be right? Yeah, you'll be right. You'll be right. You're right. I like this one too.
If it's on the list,
That's 2 in a row.
I feel strong.
That's
About
2 in a row. I
You
like
said
those
if it's
two. I
on the
like
list,
those
I'll
two. I
be
like
right
those
about
two.
it. Coming number 3,
This is not fair.
Juju
This is not fair.
Smith-Schuster.
This is not
I had to
fair.
put him on the list.
He's like wide receiver 80.
Because I just want to talk about Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown called it. He said Juju's only benefit because of me.
Bum.
And after Antonio Brown left, he's done nothing. And Buffalo is tough against receivers. They're the 6th best against receivers points per game. So I don't like Juju on this one. You sit him until further notice.
So, John, if you're out there,
Yeah.
I got a couple for you, man.
I mean, he doesn't have any other receivers. He has to start Juju.
You got
That's gonna be
DJ,
sad.
DJ, at least DJ. Would you rather have DJ or Juju?
DJ.
Okay.
Mike
All right.
Williams, I just talked about him. He's another boomer bust guy. And he gets Patrick Surtain this week.
Guess Patrick.
Denver's ranked number 3 against wide receivers. So I don't like Mike Williams. I feel like this is another bust week. This is a bust week for Mike Williams, just like Amari Cooper. They're brothers when it comes to boomer bust. Those guys are boomer bust for sure. I don't like Mike Williams this week. I don't like Amari Cooper. So yeah, you sit Mike Williams this week versus Denver. Tight ends. Njoku. See, I could be wrong on this one. In the last 3 weeks, Njoku has led tight ends in receiving yards for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But I feel like Bill Belichick is he knows that. He saw that. He sees that. He sees the stats.
Can't take everything out the game.
Nick Chubb and Njoku. Who else you got to take away?
You think he'll take out
Amari
both?
Amari
You think he'll take
Cooper,
out both?
Jacoby
Yes.
Brissett.
All three? All three? The whole
Yes.
offense?
The
Hold
offense.
on, wait. What's going on? What's going on? I disagree. Hold on, I got
It's going to be a low-scoring game.
Wait.
Low-scoring game.
He said no offense.
Low-scoring game.
Hold on, bro.
This could be like the Thursday night game. Field goals being kicked.
No.
No, it's not going to be that bad because I feel like New England's going to be able
It's
to
a
run the ball.
possibility, bro.
New England's going to be able to run the ball.
Stand on what you say.
I'm standing on it. Njoku's on my list.
My
Njoku,
man.
but I don't got Nick Chubb on there.
My man. You don't got
You
Nick
said
Chubb.
somebody's gonna do
I don't
something.
have Nick Chubb on there. I'm not gonna have Nick Chubb. I'm starting to sit him.
Okay, why you said y'all said 3?
My bold call was that he takes him out the game.
All right.
But at the same time, I like where you at. We're gonna see. It's just the head to head right here.
Njoku, sit him. Coming in number 2, Joe Everett. He's been solid for tight end. He ain't do nothing last week. But like I said, I got Justin Herbert on the downgrade. I don't like Mike Williams. I don't like Gerald Everett in this one versus Denver. I feel like this is going to be another grinded out type of game. I feel like Justin Herbert is Keenan Allen playing.
We don't know
We
yet.
don't know yet. So I just the only player I like I said, the only player I like for the Chargers this week in fantasy is Austin Eckler because he's going to get his. I feel like they're finding ways to give him the ball. They're finally utilizing him in the pass game.
He was limited today.
They're rushing him. They're giving him the ball and on the ground. So I don't like Gerald Everett in this one versus Denver. I feel like this is going to be a hard-fought game for both teams. It's going to be a grinded out type of game. Dalton Schultz. In week 1, he saw 9 targets with Dak Prescott in there. But after that, he has 18 total yards with Cooper rushing there. So he's not finding Dalton Schultz. So I think till further notice, until Dak comes back, or if he comes back, you sit Dalton Schultz. He's not getting it done. Now they're playing Philly, the number 2 fantasy defense. So I don't like Dalton Schultz at Philly this week. Number 3, Hunter Henry. He's coming off his best game of the season. But now they're at Cleveland. I feel like this is going to be a grinded out game. Also, I feel like it's going to be a lot of running the football in this one. Ramondre Stevenson is the only guy I like from New England. I don't like Hunter Henry this week. He's very touchdown dependent. He's not going to get the targets, the yards. He if he scores you a touchdown, great. But I don't see it, and I don't like Hunter Henry this week. My defensive special teams, Cowboys at Philly, speaks for itself. Philly's offense has been playing very good. Jalen Hurts, he's finding success on the ground and in the air with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So Dallas defense has been playing very well. But if you're a fantasy guy, you know not to start him this week because the Eagles offense is looking great out there. So I wouldn't start Dallas defense. Moving on, Bills at Kansas City. Like we always talk about, you don't start any offense or any defense going against Pat Mahomes because he's going to do him. He's going to get his. So you sit the Bills defense this week. It's probably the only week that you sit the Bills defense, but you're sitting them this week. Cardinals at Seattle, Geno Smith is playing great football. They loved him in camp, and I see why they loved him. Geno Smith is coming out. He said, what did he say? Don't write him.
Don't write him off.
Don't write him off.
He already said they wrote him off, but he didn't write back.
But he ain't write back. Geno Smith, I like what he's doing out there. The Cardinals defense is ranked they're ranked 25th against quarterbacks. They're not stopping anything out there. So I feel like this is going to be a high scoring affair. So you sit both of these defenses. Saints versus Cincy. Cincy, as we know, they have a high power offense. So I don't like the Saints defense this week. You got Jamar Chase, you got Joe Mixon, you got T. Higgins, you got Tyler Boyd, you got all those guys out there. So I think any defense going against Cincy, if I'm a fantasy man, I'm not starting any defense going against Cincy. I don't care what defense you got, because they're any given week they can put up the points. And that wraps up the sit-ems for this week.
Okay, Let's the sit-ems. We're gonna see how it plays out.
I'm not with it.
You say you're not with it. Well,
I'm not with
you
it,
know what
man.
I'm
You got
saying?
some bad calls on it, bro.
Who you see is a bad call?
Got some bad calls on it, man.
Let me get one.
Devin.
Oh, okay.
Devin Singletary is a bad call. I mean, I'm not being
Devin
biased.
Singletary, 10
I'm not
or
being
10 or
biased.
less.
I'm gonna say.
We definitely got some comments. We definitely got some comments in here.
Who your defenses?
Defenses was what? The Saints.
Of course. We got biased opinions. We got Dallas fans. We got a Juju Smith owner.
You got
Come on, man. We got a Devin Singletary owner right here. Everyone that don't like him is an
It's
owner of
biased.
somebody on this list.
Go here. We're gonna start here.
It's hitting home for him.
You're sitting.
Exactly.
The Cowboys don't play Cincy. First of all, the Cowboys.
That's Philly. That's Philly.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Philly. Yeah,
Yeah.
we said that.
Yeah.
I said that.
Okay.
I said that.
I like set the Cowboys. Said the Bills.
Hey, I said Philly when I was
set the Bills.
talking.
He did,
I'll set
he did.
I'll set those guys. Go back. Let's run it back. Come on. We got.
What, you want to do the whole sit-ems over?
Go back.
No,
Fuck
we
this
can't do
sit-ems.
that.
Come on, bro. We're gonna do this.
We cannot do the whole
Matter of
sit-ems
fact,
over.
okay, cool. You mentioned
Who? Wide receivers,
somebody that we
Amari
went
Cooper,
into, we
Deontay
went
Johnson,
into-
Juju, Mike Williams.
David Njoku was on the tight end.
Oh, I don't agree with Njoku.
Nah, I mean,
I don't agree with Njoku because I have him on the starters, and at the same time, that's the only weak spot of the Patriots defense. That's the only weak spot.
is it Kyle
Yes.
Duggar? Kyle Duggar? Yeah, ask Ross who that is. He's going to be on that. You're going to see. Watch.
I don't think that either. I don't think you know who that is. Like,
I just
You
said
don't
his
know.
name.
yeah, because you did your research.
I mean, that's
That's
what
it.
you do, don't
That's
you?
it. That's it. I mean,
Kyle Duggar. Y'all
That's
heard it
fair.
here first.
that's fair.
Watch, they gonna
That's
like
fair.
Duggar's on that
No,
again.
no,
Wow.
fair,
You know
fair,
what?
fair.
Let's
You do your research.
let's bring
That's
on
fair,
Donald.
fair.
Let's see what he thinks about
Same
your,
way as our
let's see
host.
what he thinks about your
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
your
do it.
starters
Let's
and your
do it.
sit-ems.
Let's do it. Come on, man.
We can get him
Bring
on
him
here.
on, man. Let's add it to the stream, bro.
Yo, Donald. Man,
What's
first of
going
all,
on, fellas?
hear us. Can you hear us? Can we hear you?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
I see you talking, man.
Yeah,
but
we
don't
see you
hear
talking. Hold on. Give us a second. Let's get our shit together. Hold up. All right. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Still can't. Oh. I can hear you guys. Let's see here. I'm getting feedback in the settings. Diagnostics looking good.
Okay, bet.
Okay, there it is.
All right.
Y'all can hear
So
me?
we can hear you. Y'all
All
might
right,
have to take your headphones out. All right. So you saw the list of startums and sit-ems. There's a lot of controversy on Sean's sit-ems. Let's get your take real quick before we get into everything. Let's get your take on what you thought about the sit-ems, because there's a lot of Sean's getting a lot of smoke right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not good with anything as far as against the Cincinnati Bengals. So I'm fading that. I'm fading anything with the Bengals. I am a believer in the Super Bowl hangover. You know, we can get into the depths of that, statistically speaking, but they're at home in New Orleans. I think there's going to be a lot of emotions flaring with Jamar Chase coming back with Joe Burrow. This is their first time. A lot of times you see this when players in the league play in their locale in college, and then they go play in that NFL stadium that's existing in their collegiate city. And it's typically overwhelming for them. So I'm definitely fading that.
Are you saying overwhelming like in a bad way?
Yeah, overwhelming in a bad way.
word.
They send it,
Jamal
you
Chase
know.
about to get locked up.
Oh my!
He was on the
goodness, yo.
Stardoms.
So,
So I said he said top one finish. So
I
I said
ain't
he's
going with
number
Jamar
one.
Chase in the Stardoms this week.
That's number
Nah.
one. So you see a down week for Jamar?
Yeah, I see a down week for Jamar. I would fade
Okay.
Jamar and go with Higgins probably.
Where you gonna be next week, man? I need to make sure. I need to make sure. Hey, I need to
Send
make
me the
sure.
link.
At Pro
Send me the
Football
link, man.
Forensics,
I got
we get
you.
at
This
him.
is my call. Hey, yeah, this is my call.
Send me the
Hey,
link.
I need this, man.
That's a fact.
But nah, I feel you though. I feel you though. You presenting numbers to it. Let's get it.
Yeah, for sure, man. So first of all, real quick, man, before we get into everything, just let people know who you are. Definitely, you started Pro Football Forensics, but get into a little bit of that, the background of that, and yourself.
Yeah, so yeah, for those who don't know, I'm Don Lilly from the DMV as well, Anne Arundel County, and I've been in the IT data and analytics space probably 10 plus years now. I'm not gonna put my organization on blast, but I do work for a company specifically for data and analytics where I'm looking at economic impact and stuff like that. So out here in Baltimore City, so I'm definitely a Marylander born and raised, and then basically got in IT for 10 years. And I was living in New York and Queens for a period of time. And I created this brand or, this kind of, urban sports blog called Hip Hop and Home Runs. Right. And so I created Hip Hop and Home Runs, and it was supposed to be what I was trying to make it was basically Barstool for Black folk. That's basically what I was trying to go for. Right.
That's
And
popping.
so,
That's popping.
yeah, so I had that for a little bit. And then so half of it was just me kind of reacting to stuff that was going on. I think in 2014, that was around the time that Joe Mixon had got into it with that chick at the bar in college. So a lot of the racial flares were racial attempts was flaring in the country at the time. So I was talking about a lot of off the field stuff. And so that was one component. And the other component was the sports betting, particularly with the NFL. And so I kind of did it on my own for a number of years. And then it started creating a buzz. People started hitting me up like, oh, can you can you build parlays for me and stuff like that? And that was never really my thing. And so I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do and branch out there on my own and be an entrepreneur, how can I still do something that I'm genuinely interested in and still have an IT foundation to it? And so that's when I got to Pro Football Forensics. And essentially what I did was take the data that I was already doing, on pen and pad at home, and I made it a digital product. And then I went to my alma mater. So I went to University of Delaware. And so I went back to UD and I went to the business school and I hired a few interns that are in the predictive analytics program. And so I kind of, use them as far as my data analysts and, give them queries, and so on each week to run in databases and programs such as Python and R. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like the data platforms, but yeah, so and so basically, I use all these databases that are available online, some free and some that are available, for a premium, and put all those into Tableau and into Python, and then I'm running queries all day trying to find anomalies in these matchups. That's basically where we are today.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Yeah. I'm definitely hip to R. Just on some like me, I've tried to like teach myself how to code and everything like that. So I'm hip to some of the programs that you named. But I mean, regardless of if you're a coder or not, or a data analyst, we all, we're not just that we're sports nuts, but we also, for the sake of this show, dive into the analytics and the data for sure. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of something that I think we could kind of pull the curtain back on, like between y'all, because I don't know if I've ever talked about this with y'all, and then I'm also interested in hearing Don's side of it. But like, how do y'all go about doing y'all research? Like, where would you say you start? Yeah, like where would you say you start? Do you start by looking at the schedule and then like circling particular games that are interesting to you, or do you start like how would you, Don? You can start, but how would you say you start to break down what games are interesting to you to break down further?
So the way I take a look at it each week, I go with teams that are popular because I want to get the popular teams, the people that want to bet on these teams. The Cowboys are always a heavily betted team. pretty much all NFC East teams just because of the densely populated areas that they live in. But you have Dallas. The Rams are another one, right? The Ravens. They're Green Bay Packers. There's a good like 5-6 just popular teams, and so that's where I typically start my focus on because if we get behind from a data perspective, or if I'm not really liking the trends that I'm seeing, I at least want the popular teams to have data first. And so I typically look at those first, and then from there I'll just build it out by schedule. So going from Thursday night all the way through Monday night.
How would y'all say y'all start with y'all data? Tweez?
I do mine based off of the game time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, based off
like
game
one-
time.
like 1 o'clock.
So
No. How do you? Because I mean, I guess it's a little bit different because y'all are analyzing, fantasy, which you got to look at everybody. But how do you analyze like what games are interesting? Like, I guess you can look at the schedule and be like, oh, like this should be a high offensive game, or this should be a high defensive game. So there's not going to be a lot of offense in this game. How do you kind of analyze that?
Just like I said, the game time.
So you mean like 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock?
1 o'clock's up to the Monday night game.
Yeah,
I analyze it based off of that. I start with the trenches. I feel like every single game is won within the trenches. I feel like that's why I think that Washington's going to win on Thursday night, because the Bears have the 32nd ranked defensive line in the league. I feel like when Carson Wentz gets a clean pocket, which is I think that he will have on Thursday night,
he's a different quarterback.
He's a totally different quarterback than when he plays Dallas and Philly. And I pulled those stats for Sean earlier today. Like, he had 5 fantasy points and 8 fantasy points against Philly and Dallas, but he had 20 fantasy points against every other team this year. So when I pull up those numbers and I'm like, yo, like, that's kind of crazy. I pull it's based off of game time. I'm not being biased because Washington plays at 1 o'clock on the East Coast. So most of the games are being played at 1 o'clock. Then when you get to the rest of these games, you get to look at these players and you look at when they perform. It's like, yo, like, I mean, what else are you gonna? I feel like what Donald is saying is completely true. Like, like a lot of people out there that like, oh, I'm putting my money on the Chiefs. The Chiefs going to win every single week. I'm putting my money on the Bills. The Bills are going to win every single week. I'm putting my money on Dallas. Dallas is going to win every single week. And I'm only saying Dallas because of the America's
team.
But at the same time, like I feel what he's saying, but I base my opinion based off of game time. I'm going based off of every single time I look at the schedule based off of ESPN, Bleacher Report. No matter what, NFL.com, the games at 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8:30, 8:15 on Monday night. I'm looking at it that way. And then when I take the analytics from those games and I'm like, yo, what's the best stardom? What's the best setting?
What would y'all say? I don't know. How do you feel? Like, what stats do you think are the most important to telling the outcome of a game? Because kind of like what Twan said, the trenches get overlooked. I think people look at, who's the best player, who are the best couple players, and what team has the most best players, or like what team has the best players at the skills at the skill positions. But in the time that I've been betting on NFL, I've realized like pass rush is probably that's I'm not trying to give an answer, but like pass rush is so important, bro. Like those teams that kind of stifle the quarterback.
You can get to the quarterback.
If you can get to the quarterback, that starts.
A great example.
You know what I'm
of
saying?
What you're saying, Meg, is like Grady Jarrett is better than any Tampa Bay offensive lineman. Like one-on-one, Grady Jarrett is going to eat up any Tampa Bay offensive lineman. He plays for the Falcons. And people were like, oh, the Falcons.
And that's why the
suck.
Falcons
Grady Jarrett is
covered the spread,
bro.
Yeah,
like this guy's a great guy. So when they lose by 5 points, it's like, why they lose by 5 points? Maybe because he had a controversial play in the game. It's like,
facts.
That one
and
player.
Also to your point, like you said time, like you got Kirk Cousins, like he can't play in prime time. So stay away from him.
Stay away from him.
If you're playing prime
That's a
time,
big
you stay away from Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
So stuff like that.
Yeah. Donald, what are some of the most important stats do you think for telling the outcome of a game?
So I definitely agree with you guys that the trenches is overlooked, but I would say that so I look at DVOA. So DVOA is a stat that Football Outsiders they produce that stat, and I think it's really telling because when you look at
You know what that stands for? You know what DVOA stands for?
I believe it's defensive value over adjusted.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it is.
And so
It's a Pro Football Focus stat.
yeah, well, I thought it was Outsiders, but it could be Pro Football Focus might have had it first. But the reason why I like that stat and that metric is because it does combine from a defensive perspective. It combines pass rush. It combines how a team does versus number one receivers versus number two receivers, and so on. And so as I'm listening to you guys say, okay, well, teams with a good pass rush, well, teams with a good defense usually translate to winning. But then you take a look at, Denver, right? So Denver is number 4 ranked in defensive DVOA, and they are a good defense, right? And they're holding teams pretty much under 23 points all season, but it's not really translating into winning. And you could argue that their schedule is they have had a pretty cake schedule. I don't know how y'all feel about Denver's schedule, right?
I mean, go ahead.
Hey, Donald, what's the offensive version of the DVOA? The DVOA.
Yeah, they just call it offensive DVOA.
Yeah, offensive DVOA. Yeah. What's Denver's? And there's an offensive one too. So I feel you on that too.
Yeah, sure. Denver's offensive. I want to say that they're 25. They're in the bottom and a half. Yeah,
and to your point about like their defense being nice, but they're not translating to wins because they can't score points.
They can't score points. They're usually pretty solid.
Yeah, I'm big on quarterback.
I don't pay attention to it, and he's pretty much telling us to pay attention to it.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that in addition to that quarterback play, I think in quarterback play, both from an offensive and defensive perspective. So, for example, we know when Joe Burrow gets sacked 3+ times, the Bengals are something like 5-17 straight up, right? It's something crazy, but he's a good quarterback. But if you don't give him opportunity to throw, it translates into L's. And so the quarterback metric, both on an offensive and defensive standpoint, is huge. I don't think you can ignore that. If a team doesn't have a quarterback that's up at least in the top 15 in QBR, they typically end up having issues. So I would definitely say quarterback play and overall DVOA on both offensive and defensive are my key metrics that I use from an algorithm standpoint.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. When we look forward to week 6, I got a little, not a game, but just a little question as far as faves and fades for week 6. What are some of your favorite plays, whether it's spreads? I don't know. Do you really fuck with player props at all?
Yeah, I do. Okay,
I do
fuck with player props. So I got 3
player props, over unders. What are your favorite plays this week? I'm gonna ask you too, Twan.
All right, so I got 6. I got 3 plays, and then I got 3 player props or fantasy players.
Sean need to get towards the. You need to get into the betting, bro. Not to put, but just you're analyzing the game.
I will say my man right here. He's smart. He's smart with the football, but
so I'm not gonna get in it.
So I ain't messing with that. That's not my lane. I ain't mad at
you. Too hard for it. Smart when you work way too hard for your break. But at the same time, like you call your shots.
Yeah. Yeah, but go ahead, Don.
To get into it.
Well, now you know what, and this is another thing. So when I was trying to, when I first started the marketing of the app and just the overall page, and really tried to, as the legislation has changed around the country and allowed more states to have sports betting, a lot of the people, the elders, I'm a church going dude, so right. So a lot of times I'll hear people, whether in the church or just the older Black community, they'll be like, well, they looked at me kind of skeptical.
It's got a negative connotation for sure.
Exactly,
for sure,
right?
Because it used to be illegal.
Exactly. You know what? It's crazy because I kind of compare it to, marijuana. How marijuana has changed. People had a negative connotation, and it continues to evolve. But I say all that to say, I try to explain it to people very similar to the stock market. People put their money in the stock market and they're investing. Sometimes they don't know what's going on. They don't pay attention. They check back in 6 months to 9 months to a year later to try to see, what their portfolio is looking like. And the way I look at it is, this is a game where to me, it's fixed, but it's not fixed yet. Meaning it's not really controlled. There's 10% of this industry that's winning a lot of money. And then you have 90% that's continuing to fuel Vegas and these major sports books. So, with that being said, I'm gonna give y'all my 3 locks. So let's start with Thursday night football. Thursday is a crapshoot, right? Because typically a team is coming on short rest. And you would think with short rest, Washington on a losing streak. Nah, I'm fading the Bears on this one. Carson,
really,
straight up. Yeah,
I'm not gonna
Carson
hold
Wentz
you. I
is
put a
3-0.
parlay in with the Bears
Thank you.
taking
Nah,
the
Mac,
-1,
Mac,
but
chill
now
out,
it's
chill out,
even.
chill out, we good.
So
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
yeah, so Carson Wentz is 3-0 straight up and against the spread when facing the Bears. Now, all three of those wins were with Philly, but and again, you have to take that with a grain of salt because it's a different coach and it's a different dynamic. But there's something to say when a quarterback has another team's number. We saw that last week with Brady and the Falcons. Brady never losing to the Falcons, right? Again, this is another rule of thumb in mind. Ride the trend until it proves you wrong. So Carson Wentz is undefeated against the spread and straight up when facing the Bears. Go ahead and ride that out. And I would take them on the reverse because I think the reverse is -6.5, depending on what sportsbook you guys play. So I would lock in Washington. Second one, Atlanta and San Francisco under 44.5. The unders have been trending crazy this year. Like for the first 5 weeks of the season, it's hard to really find that. Yeah.
The unders have been hitting,
Why
man.
do we got any reasoning for why that is? Like the NFL is always trying to make offense more popping. What's going on?
No.
Or the book setting the line.
I lose my connection.
Yo, Donald, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, yeah, we've been having kind of internet issues all day, so my if it was us that got kicked off, but
All good.
yeah. So the last thing that we heard though was what San Francisco,
The under. Yeah, San Francisco, Atlanta under 44. San Francisco hasn't let anybody score 20 points all season.
No.
Oh shit! Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Nobody, right? And Atlanta.
Defensive stat, like I've seen that. I didn't know that specific stat, but I've definitely been fading offenses when they go in against San Fran. Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely like San Francisco and the trend that they're on right now. And even Atlanta. Atlanta has played every team tough. They're actually 4-1 against the spread. Just in terms of covering.
Spread, bro.
It depends. Now
Oh,
I use Delaware Sports Lottery, right?
Yeah.
So I base it off of that number. But
Okay.
yeah, not the actual where the line moves throughout the week.
Yeah,
That's another
sometimes
thing.
it moves throughout the week.
You know, and I love to come on another time and talk about, you know, the difference between the live betting versus where to find a good sports book because you can't beat those 10-10 parlays that the Delaware Sports Lottery is getting you. But yeah, anyway, so Atlanta actually they've decreased their points allowed each game since week 1. So I think week 1 they gave up, 30 or 27 plus, and then after that it was down to 24, and then it was 20. And so their defense is trending upwards, right?
Trending up.
So I like Atlanta, San Francisco under 44.5. And then the last one, I like Miami plus 3.5 this week against Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has never won 5 games in a row. He's never won 5 games in a row.
Say that again about Kirk Cousins 5 in a row. What did you say?
Kirk Cousins has never won 5 games in a row as a Viking since 2018. Look it up.
4 in a row right now.
He's on 4-0, right? And this is game 5.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm not gonna hold you. I liked Minnesota -3. I think you said you like that too.
Hey, it's the one decision I can't let you in.
So I gotta go about that on that one.
I like it.
Kirk Cousins at 1 o'clock. If it was a 4 o'clock, Kirk Cousins, I'd be all
Right.
over it.
I get it.
I like everything that you said. I'm not gonna lie. I like everything that you said. And so I think that Minnesota gonna blow.
But also, it's not about what you like; it's about the numbers. I was telling you that last week. It's not about what you like; it's about what's going on.
We're gonna look at the game and be like,
Hey,
Donald Jones.
yeah, right. We're not gonna be like Donald Jones. Hey, Don, who's the quarterback for Miami this week?
His name is Skylar. I want to say like Skylar Brown. Yeah, it's something
The point is
crazy.
that you don't know. I think his point is that you don't know. Nobody can name him.
Skylar Thompson. Skylar Thompson.
He still got weapons out there though.
He got weapons.
And he's an NFL quarterback. He should be able to get the weapons the
There
ball.
for a reason.
He should be able to get weapons the ball.
Guys, I'll go against analytics on this one, man.
And you know, since last season when the Dolphins scored 20 points, they're 10-3 straight up, right? And the Vikings have given up 20 plus in every game starting week 2 and since. So I just think that even if the Vikings win, right, it's about covering. It's about what line you got to be on. So if the Vikings get them out of there, I could see them winning by a field goal at the end of the game, right? And we know Minnesota's had all types of kicking issues towards the end of the game. Kirk Cousins will have a great game, and they could still only win by 3 points, and Miami covered at 3.5. So I would like Miami right there. And then a general rule of thumb that so I'm trying to produce this thing called the 10 betting commandments, right? Playing on the 10 crack commandments. So one of my betting commandments is when you see a new quarterback, that's called fresh face, no film. So anytime you have a quarterback that enters into a game that's hurt or something, the following game, there's no film on that quarterback. So if they're even above halfway decent, they're going to likely get some type of offense generated.
That guy ain't halfway decent, man.
See Cooper Rush.
No. Cooper Rush has film.
I mean, he's got film now, nigga.
I'm not.
He's got film now.
What? Cooper Rush?
Last season, he came
But
in
last year, but he was he is undefeated. He came in last year,
Yeah, he
no
did.
film, right?
Nah, we ain't.
The Vikings was
That's
the
just
Vikings was a
example. I'm
short.
not saying like he's the guy. I'm saying it's
talking
an
about-
example.
The guy that he's talking about has no film.
No, but
that's
that
what he's
logic,
saying.
but
That's
that
what he's
logic
saying.
that Donald's pointing on,
understand.
I
Cooper Rush
understand.
has film.
But that was just
Cooper
an
Rush-
example.
But-
I'm
but
just
it's a
saying
lot
that
of
like
At the
Like,
same
even
time,
like
when
Dak Prescott came in.
at the same time, Donnie,
When Tony Romo came in,
I like
though,
you, man.
Like,
I
you
like
know what
you,
I mean?
man.
but you're not feeling the play.
I'm not feeling.
You don't gotta feel the play. Twan's always
I'm not
like,
gonna
I
feel
don't
the
like
play.
this.
I
You
gotta
don't
be
gotta be
devil's
feeling the
advocate.
play,
It
bro.
always has to be one guy. I'm gonna be
Okay.
the one
You
guy.
gotta be
Patriots,
exception
right?
to the rule.
I'm the
That's
guy
another
that hopefully brings you back next week, and you like, hey, yo, look, hey, Twan,
You were right.
I was right. I was right. You was
You
wrong.
hope that
I was
happens.
right. You was wrong. I don't want to take too much time.
I'm
from you,
fucking
man.
weak.
You know what I'm saying? I appreciate
I'm
it.
fucking weak.
man.
All right. So like real quick before we go on,
Right.
do y'all have any favorite plays for this week?
Hey, you think Brian Robinson gets in the red zone? You think Brian Robinson gets in the end zone against 32nd ranked Bears defensive line this week?
And that's tough, man. Because again, I heard he was on a pitch count. So
Right.
you know, it's like, are you going to only use him in the goal line situations, or is he going to bring the ball up the field? That's hard for me to determine. I'll probably stay away from Brian.
So real quick, I'm gonna scratch that. You think Terry McLaurin gets over 51 receiving yards?
No, I think Jay Dotson does.
He's out. He's out this week.
Ooh, that hurts.
Yeah.
That changes things.
Man, that hurts. Okay.
Dawson's out, and Logan Thomas is out this week.
Yeah, so they basically have to go to McLaurin.
Yeah.
No,
Twan basically just wants reaffirmation for his personal plays.
I want some confirmation.
The crazy is, I probably would still. I gotta still look at Samuel.
Support my plays.
I gotta still look at Samuel.
I'm fucking weak. I mean,
I gotta still look at Samuel.
At the same time,
Yeah,
man.
I hear that. I kind of want to stay away from this game to be
respect everything that he said.
to be honest with you. I
respect
wanna-
everything that I respect everything that you said.
All right, so
At the
the next thing though, or the last thing is fades for week 6. So what are you fading in week 6 and why? You already mentioned, I guess, Kirk Cousins. You're fading.
Mhm.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm going against Kurt. Going against Green Bay's defense in term from a fantasy perspective, right? I'm not willing to go as far as say that they're going to lose to the Jets, but I do
Right.
think Garrett Wilson, if you want to get some value from him, both from a DraftKings or a FanDuel fantasy perspective, Garrett Wilson, Green Bay's ranked the worst against opposing teams' number 1 wide receiver.
Really?
And yes, they're ranked 32nd, right? And so
Against opposing teams' number 1s.
against
Packers.
opposing teams' number 1 wide
Zaire
receivers.
Alexander ain't really been it this year.
I think it's a multitude of reasons, but I like Garrett Wilson, and I think ever since Zach Wilson has came back, the offense looks a little bit different. I'm not willing to say he's a
do.
Pro Bowler. I ain't going that far, but
Nah, but
Right,
they
right,
look,
right,
you know,
right,
he's
right,
rushing,
right.
he's running it in, he's
Yes,
catching
yeah.
touchdown passes,
Yeah,
throwing
fair.
them. Nah,
Nah, I respect. I
this,
respect
this,
They're
that.
playing a little
Jets team
different.
looks
They got
interesting.
some energy.
Yeah,
They're,
that's
they're
what I'm
3 and
saying,
2. Like they look
Yeah, they're
interesting.
3-2. They got
look
something to play
interesting.
for. They got something to play for right now.
Right. And so the other team I'm gonna tell you to fade from a defensive standpoint is Seattle, right? So Seattle's giving up big
Yeah,
points to
giving up
everybody, and they're worse against other teams' tight end. And so Zach Ertz, although Zach hasn't really gone off this year, he hasn't in his career. If you take a look at it, he hasn't gone more than 4 games in a row being under 50
You said
yards.
what, Donnie? Say it again.
So Zach Ertz has not gone 4 games over
Okay.
4 games in a row with being held under 50 yards receiving.
Zach was on there,
He's
man.
on your stardom.
Yeah, Zach's on the start. I
Zach
appreciate
Ertz.
you, Zach. Like
Got
Zach.
I
Like
appreciate you, Donnie.
Zach.
When it's in his favor,
I know, right? When it's in his favor, he's always a
Hey,
genius.
hey, I'm just saying, like it sounds good to me.
Yeah, I like Zach
I'm
Ertz a lot this week.
I like the numbers, man. I like the numbers.
That's a fact.
I'm a numbers
Yeah.
guy. I like the numbers.
Yeah,
So-
man. That's I feel like week 6 is going to be an interesting one. Oh, we was talking about the, you know, I guess the most anticipated game of this week, the Bills and the Chiefs. Who do you like in that game? And if there's any players and props and anything in that game that you like, let us know. Like how you analyzing that game, are you betting?
I thought
anything in that
Cowboys
game?
Eagles was the most anticipated
Oh, so
game.
that's
Sheesh.
not gonna be that one. No, that's a fact.
facts.
That's a
Yeah,
fact.
both-
I guess because
so-
everybody's
I
looking for a
think
both of
repeat.
those games are
Because
like,
Those are the two. That's 1 and 2. One A and 1B.
Because we don't know, you might be pressed for time. We don't know. So look, at the same time, just give us game winners. Who you think wins those games?
I think KC beats Buffalo.
I
I think Buffalo
that.
gets them back in the playoffs.
All right.
I hear that. I like KC only because I think I saw a stat like
What about that Dallas game? I need it right
Right.
now. It's I need it right now because I'm about to go meet up. I'm about to see a lot of people. I'm not even gonna tell you which fans I'm about to see. A lot of people. So at the same time, who you
Okay.
like, man?
All right, so I gotta say with a caveat, I like Dallas. Listen though.
No, come
Listen, hear me out though.
it's Dallas versus the Eagles. What you like, the Eagles? Come on.
Well, hold up.
Let's
though.
hear him out.
Let's hear him out.
Right?
And so, and for me, always so if we're just picking winners, losers,
Yeah.
I
Gotcha.
must go with Dallas. However, if Dak starts, I'm going Philly. Because I'm gonna tell you, some of this is about
That's
the
interesting.
That's it.
NFL does this type of stuff all the
That's
time,
it.
right?
That's it.
So the narrative that they want to play, if Cooper Rush is able to play, sometimes. So again, real quick tangent. Sometimes when I take a look at games, I make another column outside of my research called "What does the NFL want?" Right? Because the NFL wants its own selections every week that's best for their bottom dollar. And I ain't trying to get into the conspiracy of games being fixed and all that, but
Being fixed and all that.
stuff
Yeah.
works out
As you
sometimes
should,
like
as you
that,
should,
right?
as you
So,
shouldn't, as you shouldn't, as you
so
should.
if I take a look at this game, Sunday Night Football,
Yes, sir.
Eagles are undefeated. The NFL doesn't gain anything by having the Eagles continue to be undefeated. There's parity in the league now. What they would like to see is this division be tough. And with Cooper Rush coming in, if they can get a win off of the Eagles with Cooper Rush, now this plays right into Jerry Jones what he wants. Now everybody's talking about it all week. Oh, quarterback controversy. Now they beat the Eagles. You can't take them
We're
out.
already talking about it.
Dak,
Dak, take
right.
another week off.
Hey, let's put him on a trade block, see what we can get for him. Now things
Yeah.
start to get real crazy. So I think that if he does keep Cooper out there, I think Dallas pulls the upset. But I know Dak is really trying to get back this week. So we'll see what happens. But if they say Dak is going, run to the sports book as quick as you can and get them Eagles money line action.
That's interesting. I feel like Dak is trying to, not that he's not healthy or anything, but it's like he sees his starting position kind of drifting away. So he's like, "Nah, I'm good." Like,
Yeah, he knows what this like.
Because
This
last
how he
week
did
he
Romo.
was good. He was good to go.
Right.
Would you say?
This is how he did Romo. He knows exactly how this is like.
Oh yeah. He did it to Romo.
Exactly. I was talking about that earlier. Like,
So he did it to Romo. I wouldn't want it to get done to me. Oh damn! I think we lost Donald.
I'm still here. It looked like they shut the camera down.
All right, bet. But nah, it's all good, man. I think we're gonna go ahead and let you get up out of here. We appreciate you, bro, for coming on and talking with us, and we definitely got to get you back sometime later on in the season when some things have kind of like transpired, and we can get you back and get your take on things that are happening at that time. But real quick before you go though, you know what I'm saying? Definitely let people know
how they can tap in with Pro Football Forensics, the
Yeah.
best way to get in contact with you and keep up with your plays throughout the season.
Y'all got a website, bro?
Yeah, so you can go to hiphopandhomeruns.com is the splash page for anything that's related to Pro Football Forensics. You can search Pro Football Forensics in both the iOS or the Google Play Store. And then right now, our main channel that we're using is for Instagram. Shout out to you guys for being able to connect with me through IG
sure.
at Pro Football Forensics. I do have a YouTube channel, which probably do maybe one show a week on there. A little bit different than what you guys do. Like I said, I know you guys do a lot of data, but we talk about the data more in depth and purely data. But yeah, so any of those platforms and channels that you guys can find me on. Again, appreciate y'all bringing me on, man.
Hey, man, appreciate you coming through and definitely dropping a lot of knowledge, a lot of gems. Definitely, I'm gonna take some of what you said and apply that to my my kind of like little research regimen that I do throughout the week. So yeah, man, appreciate you.
Man, definitely. I'll talk to y'all next week then, man.
All right, bro.
All right,
All right.
All right, and that's gonna do it for the show. Appreciate everybody that tuned in. Again, if you're here, subscribe to the channel. That really helps us out. We're trying to get definitely to a stack, but let's get that first 100. You know what I'm saying? So subscribe to the channel, and then catch us here next week, Wednesday. We're gonna be doing our live stream. So you know what I'm saying, you can catch us there. And other than that, y'all fellas got anything?
No, I'm good, man.
Let's go, man.
Yeah, just tune in.
Week
man.
6.
Just tune in.
Week 6.
Y'all tuning in.
And
Good luck, good luck.
it's a lot of competition in these
Definitely
startums and
appreciate
sit-ems
y'all,
these days.
100%.
Sean and Twan they're really in their
Yeah.
bag. They competing with
in,
each other to
going
see
in.
who's really like getting it in. So it's
Let us
getting
know.
interesting, and
Let
we're
us
getting in
know.
the thick of the thing. We're getting into the thick of things
Sure.
at week 6. You know what I'm saying? We're real
Wow,
like
we
the season
starting
is
to heat-
underway.
starting to
You
heat
know what
up.
I'm saying?
It's about to
So,
heat all the way.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely don't forget to take advantage of the same game parlay from FanDuel. You can hit the link, or there's a link in our description to get you started if you want. If you're not a FanDuel member already, you know what I'm saying, that you definitely sign up with that book. They're coming to Maryland soon. You know what I'm saying? I showed Twan the post that I
Yes,
saw.
you
They're
did.
coming to Maryland soon, probably by November. So definitely, you know what I'm saying, sign up with the link in our description. And then other than that, we'll see y'all next week.
Love y'all. Be safe.
Now y'all know me. I come in. I'm confident. Thank you. We're gonna see.